You're listening to 25th Cafe in Poputini and Vusi Gilio, taking care of business from now until 9 o'clock on the dot. It is Radio Pulpit, your daily companion. We're joined in the studio by author of Money Savvy Kids. Her name is Kathryn Main, and we chat to her this evening. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and hi to the listeners.
Thank you so much. All right, Kathryn,
Yes.
You wrote this particular book that we're going to be talking about in a moment. Why did you even come up with this book?
So, Raising Money Savvy Kids was a book that I developed with my business. So I currently own a business called Money Savvy Kids, and we teach financial literacy to primary school going children. We have a curriculum from grade 0 to grade 7.
Grade 0?
Grade 0,
Wow.
yes. We start at 4 years old teaching financial literacy to children. And so after we developed the curriculum, many conversations with parents, it started to become apparent that parents didn't know how to have those courageous money talks with their children. Mm-hmm. So for those kids that weren't enrolled in our programs and parents that needed some insight in how to have those conversations, I wrote the book called Raising Money Savvy Kids. The book is really a step-by-step guide for parents to help have the courageous money conversations with their children from as young as 4 years old. We also give practical tips on the things that you can do with your kids at various ages. So from 4 to 14, what are the financial lessons you should be teaching your children, and how do you have that conversation? So when you're talking to a 4-year-old about money, we give them fake money called savvies, which is our currency, and they cut it out and they decorate a wallet, and we teach them about the concept of what is money. You have to make money. When money's gone, it's gone. And then, when we get into the 14-year-olds, we start talking about, well, now you're a teenager, you need to make your own money. How do you as the parents help your child to become independent and make their own money? As someone who has a teenager, I can tell you they cost a lot of money every weekend.
True. Now, Kathryn, were you taught about money growing up, and is that why you wanted to, in turn teach others about money?
So no, quite the opposite. I was a high school dropout and left home at 16 years old to forge my way into the world and start on my own. And when I was 22 years old, I was running my first business, and the bank called me and offered me my first credit card. I was so excited. I was just like, yes, the bank wants to give me a card. I blew that money, and fast forward 8 years to when I was 30, I was in 300,000 Rand debt. It was one bad decision after the next. At 30 years old, I was pregnant with my third child. 2 of my kids kicked out of school, lost our house, lost our car, jobless, with 17 Rand in the bank. And it was at that pivotal moment we went to see our financial advisor, realized we had no savings, we had no investments, we had no retirement annuities, except about 50,000 Rand in one old RA from when I worked for a company that I couldn't touch until I was 65. So it was quite a eye-opening experience to realize at 30 years old we had nothing, and we literally had to start again.
Sure. And then how did that particular story link to you seeing the need to write a book for children? I'm thinking now, when you're saying you start with 4-year-olds, how do you even talk about money with a 4-year-old? Isn't that a skill on its own?
So I have 3 kids of my own. So my youngest son, Logan, was 4 when I started developing this product and brand. And how we did it with him was we tried to link financial responsibility with his normal responsibilities. So what we did was we had a jar of 2 and 5 Rand coins, and it had a value of 200 Rand, and each of the kids had one of those. So we wanted to teach him independence, to pack his own lunch in the evenings, to make sure he got ready and dressed on time in the morning. You know what it's like with the traffic and the time pressure to be at school on time. And every time he didn't manage to get his self together, we would take 2 Rand or 5 Rand out of the jar. We then had jobs that the kids could do if they lost money to make that money back. And let me tell you, every month those kids got their full 200 bucks.
Wow.
So we kind of coupled it with his normal day-to-day stuff. I don't believe in paying children for chores because I think think every child should have to do chores because
true.
they're part of the household. But you can encourage them to think differently from a younger age. So between the ages of 4 and 12 is when the first neural pathways, learning pathways are developing in children. And that's the best time to start teaching something, a mindset that you want to stick. If you think about yourself as an example from primary school, I remember we were taught we don't waste water and we don't litter. I can tell you that those two things have stuck with me my whole life because it was a mindset that was started from the age of 5 years old.
Sure.
So now, you said you do something different for the 4-year-olds and so forth, and you do something for the teenagers. You just
Yes.
mentioned a little bit about the 4-year-olds one, about the jar and so on. For the teenagers, how do you approach it for those then?
So, we really want to start teaching teenagers how to make money. And unfortunately, the schooling system is so outdated. Our curriculum hasn't been updated in 150 years. And we're still taught to believe that you have to have a job to have an income. And there's lots of ways to make money. So what I did with my teenager was now in November, December, it's his birthday and Christmas. We took his birthday and Christmas money and we actually invested it into cryptocurrency mining for him. So we're teaching him the how to invest. We let him take risks. He manages his own accounts. And we've signed all 3 of our kids up for modeling. They have some work coming in shortly, so they'll start making their own money. So we're really teaching him how to diversify his income. So we teach him the concept of saving. We teach him the concept of investing. We're teaching him how to make passive income. And we're teaching him how to be responsible and how to make his own money. All at the same time through making sure that he's got some extra work, that he's already investing. If the kids want to get into investing and making money and saving, if they make mistakes now when they're younger, it's not going to be a big loss like when you're 40 years old and your investments are in the wrong investment portfolio and you lose everything. It's happened to family of mine. So they get to take risks now, and if they lose small, but then they get to learn those lessons. So my kids, they're 7, 11 and 15. The 3 of them sit and have this conversation about, oh, wow, look, Bitcoin's gone down. Oh, maybe I should cash out. No, I'm not going to cash out. I'm going to put more money in. So these are the kind of things that the conversations that we need to start having because our parents didn't have it with us. And if you look at how money has changed over the last 20 years, in 10 years' time, we're going to be a cardless and a paperless society.
True.
And how are we having those conversations with our kids?
How are we going to be financially literate to operate in that space in the future?
Think about 20 years' time when our kids when your baby's an adult. Like, how are you going to teach them how to be financially savvy? Because so much is going to have changed.
So true.
So you've got to keep with the curve.
Because if you don't, then you are in serious trouble. You can't even teach your children that. Let's talk about some of the stuff that you cover in the book. Maybe just a few pointers, obviously without giving too much away, but some of the most important stuff that you cover in the book.
So we really start off with my own personal story about why I developed the brand, and it was just one bad decision after the next, just to give some context, because I think a lot of people will be able to relate to what I went through and what happened. The bank calling with the credit card, taking out a loan to pay off the other loan. So I was trying to make it very relatable so that people could...
Because people do that on a daily.
Exactly. And then we go into the education crisis in South Africa. And when you read that chapter in the book, it actually scares people, because when you start to realize the stats and the facts of where our education system is and where we are from a literacy perspective, it really starts to open parents' eyes. And then we go into age-appropriate stuff. So what do you teach your 4 to 6-year-old? What are the conversations you want to have with them? What can you teach your 7 to 9-year-old? So we break it up into age groups from 4 to 14, and then we give you the practical tools. So if you buy the ebook, which is 50 Rand on my website, you can actually print it out and cut out all those activities and do them with your kids. So we teach things like how to save for a goal. So we have a goal saving sheet in there. So if you want your child to save, you also have to teach them how to make an income. So we kind of bundle the two together to say, okay, so you want to teach a concept like saving. Unfortunately, South Africa is a buy now, pay later society, and creating a mindset of saving, change happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight. So you need to really start to cultivate, what does it mean to save? So if kids get pocket money, and that's not the majority of our country, they would be able to save a portion of their pocket money. But for those kids that don't get pocket money, if we want to teach them a saving culture, we need to teach them how to make an income first. So, that's what we teach our 7 to 9-year-olds. How do you make money? And it can be as basic as washing dustbins, making cookies, muffins, washing cars, whatever the case may be. And then we teach them how to save a portion of that income.
Sure. Wow, this is very, very interesting, and I think it's a needed lesson for all of us.
Much needed.
Guess. And if people want to connect with you, I think you've already mentioned that the book is available and so on online. How can people connect with you? What's the website? Any contact details that you would like to give for people to connect with you?
So our website is www.moneysavvykids.co.za. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can look for me on LinkedIn, Kathryn Main, Kathryn Main. And I'm pretty much in the media quite a lot. If you just look for us, you will find us.
All right. Just another one quickly. Do you only just do the book, or do you do workshops and those kind of things? Or
for adults as well, do you have something?
So we do have another brand called Money Savvy Generation, which is more focused at people, more focused at adults who are having financial difficulties. So we've developed a corporate program with my business partner, Paula Quincy, called Wellness Assets, and we actually go in and into the corporate environment. We are going to be starting some workshops. We're actually starting a full literacy workshop with another amazing company called Raising Readers. So we're looking at the literacy part. How do you teach early childhood development reading? We couple it with financial literacy and a math component as well. And we're actually going to be creating a series of books and a series of workshops that we're going to be rolling out quite soon. But otherwise, you can go to our website and send an inquiry. We can sell you our product, and our online solution will be ready by the end of April.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathryn.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'll make sure you get a free copy of the book.
Yay!